The dilemma of fighter jets. As mentioned in the previous video, tank futility. The prices of European Star tanks continue to soar. They have long surpassed the $20 million mark. It is feared that it won't be long before they reach the $30 million mark. Such an expensive weapon in today's world surrounded by nemesis, I am afraid that even the rich cannot afford it. Equipment quantity across European countries, most of them have only a few hundred, only 300 or 400 to be precise. This proves the point. Their quantity is not sufficient for the consumption of a single battle. Therefore, they can only brush for presence, serving as parade stars. So, saying tanks are useless has become a settled matter with nothing worth discussing or debating. In fact, fighter jets are no different, useless if kept, regrettable if abandoned. Especially in political terms, once the main fighter jet fails, the story will immediately enter the history books. So, if it doesn't matter to lose a few tanks, then losing a fighter jet would be a political defeat. What's worth noting is that some fighter jet models are being or have been phased out. For example, ground attack aircraft, also known as attack aircraft, specifically designed for ground target attacks, relying on around 7 tons of bathtub-style armor to protect the pilot's safety. The characteristics of attack aircraft include using rockets and machine guns, cannons, to precisely strike ground targets with weapons. The major military powers currently active specialized attack aircraft models and quantities are roughly as follows. USA A-10 Thunderbolt approximately 280 units, specially used for close air support. Russia Su-34 approximately 120 units, a multi-role fighter with excellent ground attack capabilities. China J-16 quantity approximately 100 units, the main multi-role fighter with powerful ground attack capabilities. Israel F-16I Sufa approximately 50 units, an improved version of the F-16 dedicated to ground attack. As an aircraft type, the attack aircraft is practically extinct in non-hotspot areas of small and medium-sized countries. But to target ground objectives, fighter jets need to operate at low altitudes and speeds. Thus, they are easily exposed to ground anti-aircraft weapons. Although able to withstand the damage of anti-aircraft shells in absolute terms, in the face of the Nemesis missiles, they are difficult to escape. Even if able to withstand the damage of flak, they are decisively vulnerable to medium-range air defense missile attacks, especially when facing a lethal move attacks from multiple medium-range air defense missiles. Often in groups of 3, simultaneously launching 3 missiles is equivalent to a saturation attack. Once a fighter jet is locked on by a missile, its demise is almost certain. Encountering close-range individual anti-aircraft missiles, although fighter jets won't be on the brink of death, they will be scared half to death. If unfortunate enough to face a saturation attack from multiple individual missiles, the fighter jet's fate is pretty much sealed. As for encountering close-range individual anti-aircraft missiles, if a fighter jet is targeted by multiple individual missiles in a saturation attack, it's basically a guarantee that the fighter jet is heading for its coffin. Bombers are also responsible for striking ground targets, but the difference lies in the weapons. Aircraft bombs drop bombs over the target at close range, mostly free-falling with impact fuses or airburst-timed fuses. Missiles launch missiles outside the enemy defense zone at long range. Because bombers often operate at high altitudes and speeds, small to medium ground-based air defense missiles are helpless against them. As for traditional air-to-air fighters, whether light, medium, or heavy, it's almost impossible to engage in close-range dogfights anymore. They have become essentially missile launchers, delivering missiles within the missile's range, outside the enemy defense zone, launching missiles, going home after work. In the fighter domain, the classification of light, medium, and heavy is usually based on the maximum takeoff weight. 1. Light fighters. Maximum takeoff weight between 10 tons and 20 tons. Engine configuration: 1 high thrust or 2 medium thrust engines. Example: the US F-16, China's J-10, Russia's MiG-29, etc. 2. Medium fighters. Engine configuration: 1 high thrust or 2 medium thrust engines. Example: F-16, F-18, F-35, J-10, Typhoon, Rafale, and FC-31, etc. 3. Heavy fighters. Maximum takeoff weight over 30 tons. Engine configuration: a pair of high-thrust engines. Example: Su-27 series, F-15, F-22, G-11, G-15, G-16, G-20, etc. Among them, the lightweight and medium-weight categories overlap significantly and can be unified as lightweight. So, comparing lightweight and heavyweight fighters is like comparing a young hero with a brawny man. Young hero with short legs and short arms. They can only dance around outside the opponent's defensive circle, showing off their moves, but they can't get close at all. Brawny man: long legs, long arms with a powerful fist. From an appearance perspective, the typical shapes of non-stealth aircraft are: lightweight aircraft, single engine, single vertical tail. Heavyweight aircraft, twin engine, twin vertical tails. Lightweight aircraft: once the engine or vertical tail is damaged, the aircraft is inevitably doomed. The aircraft is inevitably doomed. Heavyweight aircraft: if one engine or one vertical tail is damaged, the other can still function, allowing for a safe return, at least without immediate crashing. Therefore, major military powers prefer heavyweight aircraft, while lightweight aircraft are used for coordination or to bully the air forces of small and medium-sized countries, rather than serving as the main force. Since heavy aircraft have an absolute, overwhelming advantage over light aircraft, why is the selling point far inferior to that of light aircraft? It is because the strength of the buyers is basically to belong to small and medium-sized countries that cannot build airplanes. The price of heavy aircraft, the cost of use, and the grade of weapons are high. The requirements for airfields are high, and maintenance is complicated. Most buyers can't afford it. For the air forces of small and medium-sized countries, warplanes are better than nothing. The imaginary enemy also belongs to small and medium-sized countries of the same grade. Therefore, the light machine is enough to meet the national positioning. So, if someone insists that lightweight aircraft triumph over heavyweight aircraft, they are either ignorant of military matters or have malicious intentions to spread war-related misinformation. Stealth fighters belong to the fifth generation of fighters. Currently, only the United States, China, and Russia can produce them. Based on its exorbitant cost and the consideration of avoiding technology leaks, this type of aircraft, much like nuclear weapons, falls under the category of deterrence rather than practical combat use. The key factor lies in the fear that once shot down, stealth aircraft would lose their divine status due to their astronomical cost, rendering their deterrent effect null and void. Therefore, unless a nation is on the brink of extinction, fifth-generation fighters will not be deployed in actual combat. In addition, research on anti-stealth radar is continuously progressing. Once developed, stealth aircraft will become vulnerable in the midst of gunfire. In the future, traditional fighters will no longer dominate the sky due to the increasing strength of missile-based threats, so continuing to squander resources on developing 5th and 6th generation fighter jets is truly a waste of both people's effort and financial resources. Even if they are successfully developed, they would merely serve as impractical showpieces, because the future aerial dominator will undoubtedly be the low-cost swarm of unmanned drones. However, playing with unmanned bee swarms and unmanned fish swarms requires control of electromagnetic power as a prerequisite, and this electromagnetic is first of all a satellite navigation system, a high-precision positioning system composed of at least 4 satellites focused at one point. As for satellite positioning systems, there are only 3 in the world. United States Global Positioning System (GPS), maintained by the United States Air Force. It was the first global satellite navigation system. Russia's GLONASS, Global Navigation Satellite System, has a small number of satellites and has long been integrated into China's Beidou system. China's Beidou Navigation Satellite System (Beidou), China's independently developed satellite positioning system. European Space Agency's Galileo, a European-maintained system. This means that in the future, only the 3 major bookmakers, the United States, China, Russia, and Europe, can afford to play with Air Force swarms. If anyone else wants to play, they have to sign a contract to join the game. Otherwise, once the dealer cuts off the service of the positioning system, the swarm of bees will not be able to fly, and the school of fish will not be able to swim. If a conflict breaks out between these 3 bookmakers, even a conventional war will destroy the Earth. There are 2 hot spots in the world today. The Russia-Ukraine war, it has entered a stalemate. One side has already shifted to battlefield defense and will no longer launch a large-scale offensive, no matter how enemy provocative it is. The other side must attack even if it is a show, but it could not be too much very successful no matter what. If this continues, even if 10 years pass, the battlefield situation will not change much. No more large-scale soldiers will die on either side. The people who have suffered the most are, of course, the Ukrainian people. Its land, which has been repeatedly ravaged, will probably not grow grass for 10 years after the war. The landmass it laid will probably not be cleared clean, even for decades after the war. Israel-Hamas conflict. The disparity in strength between the 2 sides is too great to be a war. It can only be defined as a purge. Now it is illogical to expand the conflict into the Red Sea. It may lead to even greater unnecessary wars. These 2 hotspots continue to this day, but their intensity has greatly subsided, and they are far from constituting a trinity of macro wars involving sea, land, and air. It will definitely be even difficult to see it in the future, so those who want to watch the excitement may wish to play electronic war games themselves. There is no need to publicly shout, applaud, boo, and promote catharsis as truth. Indeed, there are some people who are not leftists or rightists at all, but are simply cynical young and old angry youths, specialize in wandering in dirty, smelly waters. However, anyone who advocates for war will surely receive the most vicious curse from God.